Okay, be sure. Okay. Yes.
Hey
All right,
guys,
we're on.
welcome
Come on.
everyone. We'll be starting in 3 minutes. Nice to meet everyone. Lucas, hang out for a second. Get you in. Cheryl, see you.
Hi.
Karen, how are you? I put a little music on for everybody. All right.
Gloria's here too.
I see Karen's cat in the background.
Yep, there's Josie.
It ran away. It got caught.
We just need some telephone books for Gloria to sit on.
Gabe and Lucas, how are you?
411 and
Better than I deserve. How are you?
Nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And just so everyone's aware, PropTier is having some serious issues. So we're working on it. We have it's not just at Solterra. It is down pretty much across Florida. It's having glitches all over. So if anyone hears issues about PropTier, they can just either private message me or send you an email and we'll address them as we can. But unfortunately, PropTier is down pretty much everywhere.
What? Gate entry.
Oh.
Cheryl,
Well, that's what Lucas is here to talk about. So
yeah,
we have a good new system to look into.
That's right. Cheryl, I can't mute you. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much.
So was this like kind of like a prefabricated sort of thing glitch in PropTia system?
No, so
so
PropTia actually crashed at Windsor Hills earlier, and their whole PropTia system reset, and they lost pretty much everything. So they're in a total system shutdown over at Windsor Hills right now, trying to get that back up and running, and it's affected throughout the DHA. It's gotten worse for us. We're missing pass types. We're missing all types of information. So we're trying to address it as we can. We printed some temporary passes to be able to give to guests to keep guests happy and make sure everyone can park without having to get towed or any other issues of that nature.
I love it. All right. Well, with that, it's 6 p.m. So let us begin the greatest CDD meeting in the history of all CDD town halls, where Solterra Resort, the CDD members are good looking and above average, and we are here to serve our community and make big things happen. So quick updates. This is the town hall. For anyone that's watching this later, you can contact the board members at any point in time by going to the Solterra CDD website and emailing any of us. We can't talk between the meetings. They say it's because of laws, but it's secret agent kind of stuff that we're yeah. So we can only talk on town halls and that in the meetings that we have with the CDD that happen once a month in the clubhouse, but they're now moving. We have one more in the clubhouse, and then they will all be moving to the Viatel Convention Center moving forward. But the town halls are a place where we get to talk together. We can talk freely. We want your feedback. We want to hear from you. We're gonna, for today's meeting, we have a guest. Hey, our first guest speaker in the town hall. This is great. Lucas is here. He's going to be doing a quick walkthrough and demo of a new system called SimLive that is a possibility as a replacement for PropTia at the front. We wanted the homeowners to be able to see it, write down your questions, and we're going to have them do a little demo, and then we can go. I told them to be prepared. Solterra homeowners hold nothing back. We let everything fly. So he's here to answer any questions about the system, go from that. I'd love to kind of allocate maybe 30 minutes for that, maybe 10, 15 minutes for just walkthrough, and then 20 minutes for questions. And then we'll get back into updates from things that are going on in the community from there. But does that sound good? All right. So
sounds good to me. I do just want to remind everyone that as far as security stuff, there is certain stuff that we can't discuss tonight. So we can discuss how it works, how it operates as homeowner side. But as far as any of the CDD related security policies or system on that side, if we went with the system, we can't discuss that in the open.
I love it. Cool. Sounds good. Lucas, well, with that, I'd love me to introduce you. Hopefully, you'll have the ability to share the screen if you want to share a screen and go from there. And everyone welcome Lucas to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. I don't think I'll need to share my screen just so we can keep it under time. I don't know if I could effectively show the software without just blowing the meeting time out and maybe even stepping into that boundary that Bobby was talking about with security. So I just kind of wanted to keep it verbal. And I can explain that pretty well. So my name's Lucas. I am over all of our accounts in Florida for SimLive. I'm up in Panama City Beach, the spring break capital of the world. I don't know if it's as busy as it is down there, but it's pretty doggone busy here right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about SimLive, and the problem with PropTIA is not scripted. We had nothing to do with that. So I hate that you guys are experiencing that, but that is something that I've been talking with Bobby and Joe and Brian about as well to, introduce a solution that could be more beneficial. And I think SimLive is that solution for you guys, and I'll tell you why. So SimLive started out as a guest registration platform for short-term rental communities. So we were collecting data. We started about 10 years ago. We were collecting data for short-term rental communities, and then they were using that data alongside other access control softwares. They liked the guest registration aspect a lot, and they asked if we could build the rest of the pieces, something the guards could use at the guardhouse, something for residents, something that the community association managers could use to kind of streamline that whole process. And that's what we did. So we kind of started backwards, and that's a big differentiator between us and what you guys are currently using. PropTIA, good company, not built for short-term rental communities. SimLive is built around the idea of streamlining access for a short-term rental community. And the way that we do that is we differentiate between a short-term rental guest and then just an invited guest. Grandma's grandson that's just coming over to the community to hang out is much different than, John Smith and his 14 kids that are staying for a week. Very, very different guest type, and our system accommodates that. And so I wanted to kind of give that image of what SimLive is. And there are a few communities around you guys that are using this already. That you'll probably be familiar with. Windsor K is one. We're implementing right now in a couple others as well, one being Champions Gate and then Solterra, which some of you guys may know. I'm also talking with Windsor Hills as well to try and mitigate their issues. So we're doing this in a lot of communities right around you. We've got about 50 communities in total, and this is another big differentiator between us and maybe another company. We've got about 50 communities in total, and 15 full-time support staff devoted to those communities, English and Spanish speaking. Your current provider's got about 250 communities with 6 full-time employees, period, for the whole company. It's very, very hard to provide that support. Because we have the full-time support team of 15, we can answer calls from your short-term rental guests that are having trouble registering, the folks in the guardhouse that may need help. You guys as residents can call SimLive directly and we can help you out. We'll answer your phone calls. You can send emails. We have that support available 7 days a week for 12 and a half hours a day. So we don't aim to implement software and then just disappear. The other side of that, since you guys are having what seems to be an outage right now, we've had one outage in our history. That was back in 2022 for about 30 minutes. So our uptime is really, really good. So obviously that's a very big piece to have. We've got 15 full-time developers as well that are constantly working on the software to make sure that it doesn't go down and that there aren't constant bugs. Because our whole goal is to increase your access speed through the gate, make sure everybody has a good experience, and not compromise security for the community. So that's kind of our main goal: support the community, make sure everybody has what they need, stay up and running. Those are just kind of a given. Those things need to happen. For owners, we've got a couple things. We've got a resident app where you can send passes and let your folks into the community. But for our communities that have short-term rentals, hosts have their own dedicated portal where they can see their rentals and they can invite people inside their own portal. One thing that's really sweet, since we do cater to short-term rental communities. We have a connection with about, I think it's a little over 100 short-term rental management softwares. If a host is using, for instance, Guesty or Hosty, OwnerRez or Hospitable, so one of the big property management softwares, we can integrate that into the portal where their reservations automatically flow into the SimLive software, and your guests automatically get, sent the information they need to be able to complete their registration and get through the gate. Because I know right now it's a very manual upload process with what you guys are currently using. So it's very, very handy for our hosts. It's very easy to use for the owners. Bobby, Joe, and I have looked at several options to streamline the access at the gate. One of those being a license plate reader option, where a guest pulls up. If they're registered to be in the community, their plate gets read and the gate opens. This eliminates any kind of pass sharing with QR codes. It's very, very slick. This is what Champions Gate is doing at all 17 of their gate locations for owners, for vendors, and for short-term rental guests, and it's working really well. We have a community up here, just to talk about speed of access for you guys. Right down the road from me is Carillon Beach. It's about 600 home community, mixed use of full-time owners and short-term rentals. They had just this old Army guy on their board when we went to implement there, and their average access, we went out there, I stood there with him, and he had a stopwatch, and it was about an average of 2 minutes for people to get through the gate. And it's very similar setup to Solterra, because I've been down there, I visited with Joe and Bobby. Not much room there for cars to get backed up, especially this time of year. Carillon Beach is the same way. There's about a 3-car length limit, and it backs up to a very busy highway. And it was an average of about 2 minutes to get through that gate. Once we got fully implemented and their guests were pre-registering before they got there, it was about a 20-second ordeal on average over about 100 cars that it took for a guest to get through the gate. So it was very, very quick. It streamlined things quite a bit. So that's our goal for your community. We've got plenty of communities we've already done this for. And again, to circle back on the support that SimLive provides, again, we're implementing Champions Gate. We have 15 full-time support staff. We realize that that's going to use a lot of bandwidth, that community. We're going to bring on 2 more full-time support staff. So we don't just go to sell the product. Our main focus is provide support for the product. And as we grow, our support team is going to grow because it has to. We don't want to leave you guys in the dark on anything. So that's really kind of the short and sweet spiel without getting too deep into it. I wanted to leave some time for anybody that may have any questions or thoughts. That way I could answer those.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, please raise your hand, or Karen, you're welcome to go first. Yeah.
Yeah, so we used to have Envira, and then, we went through, a process where we were looking at alternatives, and we came to PropT, and they promised us that we would have license plate readers at the at the gate from the onset. And then it took nearly, I don't know what, Bobby, I don't know if you were there at the time, but it took nearly a year to get the whole system implemented. And then they didn't have the license plate readers, and they said, well, that's coming up, and it never did.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that you have the license plate readers and that they are fully functional. And also, how long will it take from the time that, if we determine to implement your system, SimLive, how long will it take to actually make the transition over from beginning to end?
I would like to say one thing just before Lucas answers. I see he's ready to answer. I did actually see this in live screen of a community that Lucas has that has the LPR function actually working and active. It was immediate. The car rolled up and the gate opened. So I did actually see it in action in live 4K definition, that they do actually have that feature operational, not like PropT's promises that we're working on it, we're doing this. There is a different subscription that we would have to add to our SimLive account, which is called Tagmaster. And that will allow us to work with the camera. They integrate with pretty much all the equipment we have now. We would be looking at a couple small upgrades to some of our IT equipment up front to make that work properly with Tagmaster. And now, Lucas, it's up to you.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. That's a couple part answer, Karen, and I want to address the first part again. Um, Proptia is a company of about 6 employees now. It used to be 7, and their director of operations is now with SimLive. Just to give you some insight. So our development team alone is 15 people. So we have the development power to do these things. So it's definitely already there. It's already in action. Um, like I said, it's being used at Champions Gate at a large volume at the moment. So it is available. The one thing that I will say, and what Bobby mentioned about Tag Master, there's definitely some levels to license plate readers. The ones that you guys have there right now are working, but I told Joe and Bobby this, I would not use them to fire the gate because there would be a lot of lag in there. You guys know when you go down the Florida Turnpike that camera is picking up your license plate every single time. It's not missing it. You get the bill in the mail, right? So there's some levels to license plate readers, and you want to make sure that you have the correct one on a gate if you're going to use it to open the gate. We've built a relationship with Tagmaster. We know they work extremely well. They're slightly more than a regular license plate reader, but that's because they connect directly to the access control panel to read that person's plate and immediately open the gate. It's not connected through like a cloud or the Wi-Fi or anything like that, where it may take a few seconds for that gate to realize that that person's there.
Sounds good. There's a couple hands up. Devin had her hand up first. Go for it, Devin.
So I heard that you had mentioned that you connect with OwnerEs was the one that, of course, stood in my mind because that's the one I use. But is there any additional cost for homeowners to connect their software, or is that something that would be just included with the programming that you guys do?
Yeah, there is additional cost for that. It is optional. It's very expensive. It's $60 a year.
So would that be paid per homeowner then, or
Okay.
like, so let's say I have 2 homes, do I pay 60 times 2, or is it just my account would be $60 for the year?
Yeah, so it's $60 per property address. So if you had 2 homes, it'd be $120 for the year to connect to it.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
So real quick, that would mean every home in Solterra that rents. So you're looking at 60 times 1,000.
Only if they have software that they would want to connect and then get rid of all
So-
the manual inputting, I would imagine.
A little bit of info on that. That is charged to the homeowner, not the association. The homeowner has the option to connect that, or the host has the option to connect that inside the rental portal. And if they want to pay that out of convenience, because it is very convenient that those reservations just automatically flow in there, you never have to worry about somebody getting to the gate and their reservation not being inputted. They can do that. So it's on the it's at the cost of the host to integrate that, and it is optional. They don't have to do it.
So a rental company that manages 100 homes would have to pay for 1 integration or 100 integrations?
If they have 100 addresses that they manage, it would be
Per address.
per address.
Okay. Is there? I
And that's optional. So a lot of the people that we have now, I spoke to Master Vacation Homes. I've spoken to Villatel. They all currently do it manually. They don't have any type of flow. Proptia doesn't offer this. So right now, everything is up to the homeowner or that other company to input that information. So this would really be, like, I understand what you're saying as far as it would be a optional convenience basically to that person. I don't foresee a lot of people actually utilizing it. I think a lot of people will stick to, for $60 a home, probably stick to their own uploading of information.
Yeah, and that's okay.
I will be
There is
paying
another
for it.
option too.
I'm just gonna say I will pay for it because it's just so much easier. Like, it's worth $60 in my mind. Just gonna let you know.
There is another option there too, where you don't have to do a manual upload and you don't have to connect it. And this is, I don't want to get too far off in the weeds to get get lost in time, but there is an option. Each address in the community has its own link if it's a rental property that can be sent to a guest. so they can fill out the rental information as well and complete their own registration. So a lot of our hosts will include that in the confirmation email that goes out from, Airbnb or VRBO or your direct booking website, where it's something along the lines of, thanks for booking your stay at Solterra Resort. Please, click the link below to complete your registration, and it will prompt them to fill everything out. So that's how a lot of our hosts do it. The PMS connection is a pretty new feature, and it's just for the convenience of hosts if they want to connect to it.
Okay, real quick, Lucas, before we go on, if Devin said it was important, she'd love to use it. It's probably something we need. Would SimLiv ever consider just a blanket license so that any homeowner or any management company could use whatever they wanted, whether it's the link, whether it's manually do it, or whether it's any technology, and it could be wrapped into our kind of master license with you? I think the goal is we want people to move through the gate quickly, and whatever way management companies can enter people in, if people are pulling up and the gate is open for them because we know they're supposed to be here, and the quicker we can get them through, I think the better for the community. So
yeah, the pricing model is kind of set right now. The reason for that is because these companies charge a cost per month per listing that's connected. And that's why we price it the way that we do. And that's why we make it optional for hosts. So it would be hard. It could become more of an expense for the community if we did just like a blanket. Somebody would be maybe losing money somewhere, whether it be you guys or this is just the pricing model we have because it made the most sense. That's why we make it optional for the host.
Just wanted to understand. Okay, yeah. Next up was Debbie. She had her hand up. Go for it, Debbie.
Hey, Lucas, can you tell us if there's any amenities integration that's available with this?
Yes, absolutely. We do connect with amenities. And so that's a conversation that Joe and Bobby and I have had as well. So we have some options in there. We can control amenity access to, your pools, common areas, fitness rooms, whatever it may be, through the same credential that people use to get through the gate. Obviously, it's going to be a license plate, or it could be something different, whether QR code, individual PIN code, whatever. There's a lot of options for that. So yes, we can control that, and it's connected to the guest reservation based on dates of stay. Also,
Lucas, I think she's looking more for the Stripe information that we were talking about, the integration, purchase, and the menu pass and stuff like that. The integration to that.
Is that gotcha? Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, so we've got a built-in point of sale across all of our platforms. So in the rental hub, if a guest is registering and if they want to pre-purchase their amenity pass, they can do so within that registration process and pay for it right there. So yeah, we do have Stripe integration for those things, as well as a point of sale that the clubhouse could use, where somebody could come up and buy that pass. We've even got it built into the owner app where, you guys as owners could rent a cabana or, purchase amenity passes through there as well, however it needs to be done. So yeah, we've got that built in across all of our software. Does that help answer your question? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Next up, Cheryl.
Quick question. If we as owners pay the $60 a year and we put in 2 license plates, what happens for the time that we're there? What happens when we rent our unit out then? Do we have the option to opt out, still pay our $60, but not submit license plates for guests?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you talking about when you're not there?
We own a place, but we're in Canada. So we drive down a couple times a year. So we would obviously pay the $60 a year and register the 2 vehicles that typically go down. Okay. So the times that we're not there, it's rented out through different sites in a property management. We don't necessarily have to we don't have to register all these rental vehicles, do we? Or could we if we wanted to?
Good question. No, so it's on the guest to register their own rental vehicles, unless you're talking about the rental, like if you're renting a car from flying down there. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
But there's no maximum number of vehicles that could be registered in a year for the $60, right? There can be as many.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. The only limit we put on vehicles, if the association, if the community wanted to, is the amount of vehicles per listing. We can customize that, how many they could register at a time if there was a limit. So they couldn't bring 10 vehicles in. And I don't know how that's set up. That's more of a policy question for you guys. But no, there's no limit on guests registering inside the rental hub. You can have as many as you want.
Okay.
That's
And
amazing
also, you
because
wouldn't-
we do have limits on how many passes people can have for vehicles per house, and it depends on the house. You know, if it's a
Yeah.
townhouse.
No, it
that-
it doesn't depend on the house yet. That's not something that we've integrated yet. It's still 5
Oh, it
passes
hasn't
per
been
home.
integrated yet?
No.
Okay.
And also,
Right.
it should be noted that with the
will.
tag master, you don't have to pay that
Hopefully it will.
$60 if you want to register your car to your home and have the gate open. You don't have to pay that $60 for the home. That tag master is going to be integrated as a credential to your plate, so that will open. That shouldn't be that the upload thing's more for the rental hub and all that. That's not.
Yeah. Just to be clear, you guys as owners aren't having to pay SimLiv for any of your vehicles. That's not, if that was not understood, then I apologize. But you guys as owners aren't having to pay that. That is strictly to connect your property management software, if you rent your property, to the SimLiv rental hub to let the data flow through. Completely optional. That's not for you guys to have to pay for your own vehicles at all.
And so, Lucas, can you explain this? If I have a rental property and someone rents it and it goes through, or Devin has one, someone rents it, goes through OwnerRez, what does that person see? Does it say enter in your vehicle? Does it send them a notice an hour before saying, if you get to the property, you can go through the faster lane? If you do this, like, explain what the user would do, what they would see, when they would get an email or a text message, how that would work, and go from there.
Yeah, certainly. I'll walk through a couple of different scenarios with this. So if you connect it to OwnerRez, for example, and someone booked a stay, essentially what would happen is that information from OwnerRez would get pulled into the SimLiv rental hub, and that guest obviously is going to have their phone number and email and their dates of stay inputted into that reservation. So that'll get sent to them. A link will get sent to them to complete that registration, to input their vehicle info, whatever information the community decides they want to collect, right? That person will click on that link. It will automatically have auto-filled their name, their dates of stay, their phone number, and their email. Then they'll be prompted to fill out the other information. So that's one scenario. That's typically kind of how it works now, sort of, I think, right, for you guys? Like, guests have to input their vehicle information, or no?
No, so currently they have to input the address. The homeowner will go on their app for their login credentials. They'll add the guest name. When the guest gets to the front gate, the plate will add to their pass. They get issued a paper pass, and then after that, they're instructed to use the fast lane. So we don't have a plate as credential at the moment, just due to PropTIA want us to move systems around and change current equipment. There's no point if they're on their way out.
Gotcha. So, yeah, essentially, Devin, to answer your question, the guest would receive a link to complete the registration, input their vehicle information, and if they complete that beforehand, they could pull up, and the information is already in the system. Their access is pretty much granted. Now, the other benefit to connecting to a property management software like OwnerRez is if they don't complete their registration, where their vehicle information is not in the system, the guards could still see that person has a reservation there. That reservation would be in the SimLiv system. They just wouldn't have the data for that person's vehicle. So they could do that at the guardhouse, which I know I don't want to step into any territory we can't talk about with security, but regardless, that person's information would be in the community database. So it's not like they're going to get up there and the guard's going to say, you don't have a reservation here, turn around. They would just have to add their vehicle information.
So I know a lot.
And also something. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Also, something that really stood out about SimLiv. Me and Joe have talked to several other vendors. SimLiv is all digital. So the need for printing passes won't exist anymore. We're gonna save between $5,000 and $8,000 a year just on paper tags. About another $4,000 to $5,000 a year in supplies at the clubhouse. So SimLive might be a little bit more to start and monthly, but at the same time, we're saving about 10 grand just in stuff that we throw away every day. The paper passes, it streamlines for towing and security. There's a separate app that doesn't give them any information besides if the vehicle is registered or not. They won't have access to the booking information. They won't have access to any confidential information that we're not allowed to share. It's simply going to say, yes, this vehicle's registered, or no, that vehicle's not.
Sounds good. Alonso had a question.
Yes, thank you, Brian. Lucas, I'm curious, what does this actually cost the CDD annually?
Can we talk about that? Can I talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The cost of it will end up becoming public record as soon as
Gotcha.
we go around.
Okay.
So that would be fine.
I just want to make sure before I open my big mouth. I think it ended up being about $3,000 a month for the full solution.
Okay, and what kind of guarantees come along with this? Is there any at all?
Guarantees as far as like it
As
working?
far as, let's just hypothetically say, because obviously when you just mentioned a few things, you said, we're trying to get the time down from 2 minutes a car coming through to 20 seconds coming through.
Mhm.
Basically, we don't want to end up in a position that we've been in previously where, we're promised this and we're promised that, and these things don't come through. Obviously, I'm not saying that your company is like that, but we've been down this road quite a bit, and it seems to end in the same spot. So obviously, we're going to look at the numbers and make sure that this is going to make sense in the end, because even though this system sounds pretty awesome, we're still going to have those people that come through the line that's not supposed to come through the line, which jams things up. And, the people we try to route around to, ride around and come back in again, or, the people who do know the rule of the CDD and that it's, public road that they can come through regardless. So, there are still going to be those issues that we're dealing with. So, but I am curious to see, are you offering guarantees with this service, or is it, hey, we're going to pay this, we're locked into this contract for X amount of time, and what we get is what we get?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I kind of have heard the history of the access control in the community, so I know why everybody's doing their due diligence. So I can appreciate that. I can't guarantee anything. I can tell you what we have going now and how well it's working. No company is perfect, right? I think the difference between our company and other companies is that we will figure out the problems together. We're not just going to leave anybody hanging. But most of the problems for short-term rental communities, just like Solterra, have already been sorted out in the last 10 years. Every community is different for sure. But in these types of communities, we've got several that are very similar to Solterra. There's not a lot of variance, I'll say. The only variance that comes is things that are out of our control, kind of like you mentioned. Somebody that's really wanting to get in, short-term rental guests can be kind of hectic. We do the best with what we have to mitigate that. In our contract, we do build performance clauses in there. So that's, something that we do build in. But as far as guarantees, like specific, I don't know exactly, what needed to be guaranteed. But that's a conversation that we could look at, and I could give you past performance history on.
If I jump in really quick, I think to Alonso's, to speak to what he said, we've experienced a lot of hiccups, roadblocks. It's been an issue at the front gate where it's been slow. A lot of negative reviews have been left, which have hurt the ability to rent properties when people look at what's the best resort near it. So it's a tender subject. Alonso, I will say this, we've looked at a variety of options on how do we fix the front gate. And the one that is the most cost effective to the community is technology. Meaning, if we can keep the existing structure without widening a road or adding a stoplight and be able to move the traffic at a faster pace or be more efficient, that would be the least expensive to Solterra homeowners and give us the best maximum impact. I think the thing that we liked about SimLive was the ability of how we can reach the people before they're checking in a variety of ways, either automatically integration, the links that any homeowner can put in their emails to people. Hey, you need to register your cars before you get there. Or there can be, recaps that go out an hour before there can be on property saying, if you've rented a car, you can enter it right from your phone, and you have your pass on your phone that you could, enter it in there and go. And there's a lot of stuff that brings it all to kind of a mobile first. I'll also say this, while I was on the call with Lucas said, well, yeah, we've got customer service. And I, knowing all of our experience with Proptia, where they're like, yeah, we have that. It's coming. I got on the phone while we were on a Zoom call, and I called this customer service line. I muted myself on the call, and I was like, let's see if there's really a customer service person. And within 1 minute, a real human answered the phone and said, hey, what's up? How can I help you? What do you need to do with SimLiv? And I was like, oh, look at that. So if there was any issue or anything you needed help from, I got the good sense that they do have a support team that's there. They are there to help you. We pay for their service. So if you need help entering in your license plates or getting in a renter or any of that stuff, they have a team there that's able to help all the people in our community, which I love. So I thought that was great. Bobby, go for it.
All right. So my comment is I've spent about 40 hours with Joe going back and forth with different providers as far as this access control. SimLiv is the only one that actually brought a live model of a working system that actually showed us what we're going to get. So I have no doubt that SimLiv can handle our traffic. There's going to be hiccups of the people not registering. That's just a fact of life. We're going to have unregistered people. We're going to have Uber Eats, DoorDash. That's why we have a security officer up front to flush those people through and keep traffic going. No matter what, we're going to have a hiccup here and there. But as far as SimLiv system itself, if people do their due diligence, register their guests, everyone's in that system, I think the owner side of that gate should be clear 98% of the time. I don't foresee any hiccups. They showed us what we're getting. I'm 100% comfortable that they have it. It's working. It's functional. I've seen it live in action. Proptia came here. They promised us a bunch of stuff. They kept telling us Q1, Q2, Q3. Till today, we've still heard the same crap. I spend probably 20 hours a week on the phone or emails with customer service from Proptia. They are horrible. We need to make a change, even if it's not SimLiv. The community is going to completely fail as far as access control if we don't replace Proptia in the coming months.
Alonzo, does that answer your question? Do you have any other follow-ups on your question?
One thing I'll say, cost to the community on this, because I do think it's important that you mention. SimLiv is hardware agnostic, so we don't sell you guys a bunch of hardware to make the system work. We can use the hardware that you guys already have there, so that's not a cost that you're going to incur when switching. So we'll integrate with what you guys currently have there, so that's not going to be a big deal. And we're already working. As far as guarantees go, again, there's nothing that's guaranteed, but we're already working with your security provider at another community. So they're familiar with the software as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
Sounds good. Cool. And one other thing.
You did answer my question. Sorry about that.
Oh, great. Good.
It cut me off as soon as I tried to respond, but you did answer my question. I appreciate it. Thank you both.
For sure.
Great question. Yeah. One other thing, I mentioned this to Joe, and it's not a done deal or anything, but if we were to do a migration, when I talked to Lucas, I said, can we run both systems and have a little smooth where they could be in either one? And it was we'll have to stop on one day, one will stop, the other will begin, and there isn't a both can run at the same time. So I was a little worried about that. But when I was talking with Joe, we were running through ideas, and one of the ones that came up was possibly having a staff member that can help with the onboarding, where they can reach out to every management company or every homeowner one by one and slowly start to work with them to say, how do we get this implemented into your system where it's automated and it's part of your messaging, and here's your link, and we take a proactive approach to try to reach out and get everyone switched over in a smooth process versus something that was, I think when we did Prop T, everyone was trying to figure it out, and it was a little bumpy during that transition. And as we went from Prop T 1 to Prop T 2, it was rough. So I think the community is coming from a place where we're like, man, we've had some bumps and bruises when it comes to, we just need to enter in a guest into the guardhouse, and it should be simple. And so I think of all the solutions we've looked at, Alfonso, this is the one that seemed like it was the most aligned with where we needed to be. And Bobby's been overseeing it. And I think if he is giving, his seal approval, or if he does at some point in time, I think it's a good recommendation that we may move forward with it at that point in time. So that's.
I did realize that I left a question that Karen asked unanswered. Karen, you asked how long it takes to implement, and you mentioned this, Brian, about switching over. It takes us, I would consider about 3 months for implementation. That's to get all the existing data transferred, all the upcoming reservations transferred, test any bugs that may be in the system to make sure those aren't a thing when we do roll out. And a lot of that 3 months while the data is being transferred in the back end is spent training you guys as a community on how to use the software. So we'll train the residents, we'll train all the hosts, we'll train the administrators, we'll train the security staff. And we also have ongoing training for as long as you have the product. So if Brian or Bobby come, and say, hey, Lucas, our hosts are really struggling with this aspect of the software, we'll schedule a Zoom call with our training team and we'll do a training over it. So we have unlimited training on that aspect. Just to give an example, when we implemented in Champions Gate, I came down there from Panama City Beach and sat there in a conference room for 12 hours helping their elderly homeowners learn how to use the app to send passes to their grandkids that were coming into the community. So we offer that customer support, and that's not going to change.
Okay, wonderful. Well, good. I know we ran a bit over. Lucas, I want to thank you for being a part of this. If anyone has more questions about how SimLive would work, or what about this scenario, what about that scenario, please email Bobby. Bobby's been the one that's kind of been spearheading this. Let him know your questions. If you have concerns, well, I don't know if it would work, let him know. And he's been the one that's kind of looking at the different systems, seeing which one is there a better fit for Solterra than Proptia, and he can take it from there. So I would encourage you guys to reach out to him. He'll be able to talk with you a little bit more on specifics and go further from there. But Lucas, thank you so much for joining our town hall. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much, Lucas.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, we got 20
And just for the record, you can call, text, email, any way you want to reach me. My number's in WhatsApp. Feel free to reach me on WhatsApp, email, text. I don't care. However you want to call me. It doesn't have to be email.
anything except for USPS mail.
Even if you want to knock on my door, I'm at 7576 Havana.
Look at that service. That's how we get to a 5-star resort right there. Okay, well, let's go down. We're going to go rapid fire. We got 20 minutes left. Bobby, are there any updates from security side or front gate?
So front gate, obviously we're looking at different access control. Prop T is currently not functioning properly. Security is actually calling me why I'm on this call with, I'm guessing, another issue of Prop T. So we're experiencing some issues there. We do have temporary passes available. If a person shows up and they're the reservation holder, their ID matches a reservation on their phone, we give them a temporary pass. If they're not in the system, tell them to call their host. Unfortunately, hosts are updating information. I've seen it. It just doesn't update to Proptia. It's happening across the whole Proptia platform. People are having this issue. Traffic's been heavy lately. The last couple of weekends, we've been seeing a lot of people come in. A lot of people have e-passes, which is great. They're coming. They're able to scan those e-passes and get right through the gate without having to wait in that traffic. We still have some people cutting people off up there. Security has been kind of cautioning them when they come in and they cut around the car that's in the line already, or they're tooting the horn, ask them just not to cease and desist that behavior while they're on property and drive properly. So we're doing our best there. Unfortunately, if it's on the public road, we really can't say much to them. Once they get online, then we can kind of say, hey, you just cut this guy off. What's going on? Could you exercise some caution here and drive properly? White cards are working. As far as everything else, I mean, we've been seeing a good flow. A lot of feedback from the community has been positive lately. I haven't really heard any negative reviews or anything as far as that. If anyone does have anything negative or needs help, anyone wants to tell me anything positive, feel free to email, text, or call me, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you. And that's it for me, unless anyone has questions.
Questions
Thank
for
you so much.
Kate?
Amazing job.
All right, let's do it. Well, Bobby, you have everything handled. Great job. All right, so we have Debbie. Updates on the amenity center. Things are changing. What's going on?
Yeah, things are changing. But first of all, I want to announce that the cafe is temporarily unable to support deliveries. There was an incident last night, overnight, where the delivery golf cart was vandalized. The ignition has been damaged. The pictures that I have seen, it looks like somebody with some intention came. There was a fork, a pair of scissors, gloves, and to me it looks like somebody was trying to get in maybe for the purposes of stealing golf cart batteries, even though ours is gas powered. The amenities center team had Polk County sheriffs out there this morning to file a report, and Joe and the Artemis team is working with bargain carts to see if they can get out and replace the ignition and see if there's any other damage that might prevent the cart from being operable. So stay tuned, and once we know that it's back up and running, we can make an announcement to homeowners. So
Debbie, I did go look at the golf cart. What they tried to do was hotwire the golf cart. Unfortunately, it was someone that didn't have any skill. Well, fortunately, it was someone that did not have the proper skills to do so. They did cut the ignition wire, and they used that fork to try and shove it in the ignition to turn the ignition over. So the ignition's busted, and some wires are damaged. So
Yeah.
I did speak to Joe about that, and like you said, he is calling bargain cart to try and get that repaired ASAP.
So if you're trying to put in a mobile or a delivery order, you're going to find that is temporarily disabled because the golf cart is temporarily disabled. So if anybody has any information, knows anything about that, has property that encroaches on the parking lot of the amenity center and may have heard something or knows something, please reach out to
Or have video of something,
I'm sorry.
or have video of something. Does somebody's,
We can't talk about that in the meeting.
no,
because-
I'm saying of a person's home that maybe overlooks and has personal video.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, where it was is probably not much. It was parking in a bad spot for that. I don't believe anyone's gonna have video of where it was.
Not
No.
likely. But anyway, moving on, the games lawn is in progress. If you have been on property and driven past the amenity center, you can see that the fencing is substantially complete. It's serving as a construction barrier. It will have 2 gates, so those openings are currently open, and they do have space to access for construction purposes. We're going to end up with a full professional overhaul of the volleyball court itself. The finishes on it are going to be so nice. The sand or the turf is going to go up under the sand. So we're essentially going to have like a 0 entry sand volleyball court with new poles erected, plus bocce ball, some putt-putt greens, a lawn chess, horseshoes and cornhole out there. So we're going to have some new amenities to introduce to our upcoming guests. I've talked to Joe and Portia about the possibility of putting together like a grand opening kind of a celebration once the construction is completed, and we can invite everybody just to have a good time. So that's exciting.
Right.
I think really quick, Cheryl had a question.
Really quick question. When the pool's at capacity, can people go out for 20 minutes to play a game of cornhole and then go back in without having to give up their spot?
I think that once somebody exits the property when it's at full capacity, then they're probably giving up their ability to re-enter without waiting in line. I think the only exception to that would be like if somebody had to go run out to their car and immediately return into the pool space.
Yeah, if I can interject, it's kind of it's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to do. We don't want people to occupy two different parts of our amenities, and thus the reason for adding the different amenities and the different activities is so that more people could actually have things to do instead of the same number of people taking up space on the pool deck as well as out at cornhole or volleyball. And who knows, maybe they go out to play, putt-putt golf for 10 minutes and they end up out there for 2 hours. And then somebody doesn't have a lounger at the pool, or some people don't have loungers at the pool to use for those 2 hours. We can't enforce somebody coming back in 10 minutes.
Okay, but can you, if there's a lineup, can you just go up to the security at the pool and say, all I want to do is go into the cafe and order food?
You can
Well, the
order
cafe is
from the
actually in the
clubhouse
amenity
without
center where
actually-
the,
Karen,
yeah, go ahead.
can I answer that?
Sure.
Cheryl, you can go into the clubhouse and order food from the kiosk in the clubhouse without actually entering the pool space. So to answer your question, you don't actually need to have entry to the pool proper in order to get an food from the cafe.
And can you take drinks out to that area? Like, is it part of the full now pool area?
No, it's not attached to the pool area. It's completely separate. It's outside of the entrance to the pool. It's a completely separate space. The people that are in the games lawn will not count towards pool guest head numbers, head counts. Totally separate space.
So Cheryl, your question was, if the pool is at capacity, can people go out and hang out there until they can get in? And it sounds like the answer is yes. Is that right, Debbie?
So I think, Cheryl, I think you may be a little bit confused because the games lawn is going to open pretty much to anybody. Okay, there's going to be lawn chess.
I'm not confused. I understand. My question's been answered. Thank you. It's all good.
Okay.
Perfect. Anything else, Debbie?
I want to add that I know there's a lot of concern with homeowners about the dates for the initial amenities closures related to the resurfacing projects. And I think that we're getting closer, and I'm pretty confident that Joe is going to be able to provide homeowners with a formal communication before the next CDD meeting, which I think is August 7th. Does that sound right, Joe?
Yeah, that's correct.
So stay tuned. It's coming, and we'll have an exact timeline coming up very soon. And I think that's really all I have to say.
Sounds great. Cool. Thank you so much. Karen, we got 9 minutes left. Please tell us about landscaping, grounds, You want me to share my screen with the photos?
Yeah, if you could. This one's going to be real quick. I just want to show people that, we've been working on some designs for, we've got these big unsightly utility boxes, and we've got some beautiful, inexpensive opportunities to beautify the boulevard and also to use it to provide additional services, eye candy, and also create revenue, right? Let people know that they can book a cabana or they can order from the cafe for pickup or delivery, that they can scan the QR code and they can see the calendar of events, what's going on at Solterra this month. And the QR codes don't need to be changed. None of this needs to be changed, because it will just be updated on the website, and the QR codes are going to take you to the same place every time. So that's really great. Then there's also this idea called Welcome Explorers, where to engage the kids, the guests, whatever, to have them walk around the community, to try to find things, kind of like a scavenger hunt or something like that, to learn about our sandhill cranes or whatever it is. And so we have these Solterra Explorer passports. So that's going to be up to Deanna and the amenities team to come up with a program. But they have these things at Disney. They have them at different hotels, and it gives kids something else to do. And they can earn prizes like the Shark Cup or an ice cream cone or things like that for having hit different milestones and done different activities. So it's a fun thing to do, and it'll keep them coming back to Solterra. We've also been promoting Solterra. We've also been talking about doing, I don't know if people know about the Lovers Locks in Pont-Neuf and in France. I mean, they eventually, got weighed down. It was so popular that they had to take it down. But they've done other things in the interim. But we could also create some fencing with some Lovers Locks, and we could actually sell the locks, these heart-shaped locks, where people can, buy a lock from us. They can put the lock on there, take a picture of themselves with their lock, and come back to visit. If you have something like that and you're actually now engaged with the property itself. It's just a really fun, simple thing that, that doesn't cost anything, but I think would be a really great idea. And today I walked the property up front at the gate, because we do have a number of issues up at the gate with the way things look, the failing plants, like up in those big pots, which are kind of the centerpiece. There was never any landscape material, never any soil put in there, no rocks for drainage, nothing put in there. They just threw these bougainvillea up there, they being Yellowstone, and said, live or die, your choice. And there was never anything done with them. So we're talking about different proposals to refill those pots and also to make our front entrance, look nice, because that's the first thing people see. And so Angel and I are working on some possible proposals, some proposals that he's going to make for there, and some solutions to some problems that we're having. So that's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't see any hands up.
Okay.
No.
It looks like, yeah, we're going to finish right on time.
Look at that. Well, we've got 4 minutes left. And I would just love to say, if anyone's watching this later on, over the last year and a half, we have made some massive changes at Solterra. with vendors, with people on the team that are dedicated to Solterra's success. And it's weird because it took a long time to make all these changes happen. And we are now seeing the benefits of a fantastic board, fantastic vendors, fantastic landscaping, security, front gate. You know, we are slowly buttoning up all these areas, amenity center, Cafe Soul. And I think with all of these getting lined up, it opens the path for a lot more things to happen, and a lot of upside that I don't think a lot of our competitors have the ability to do. Sometimes they're moving slow, and I can't say enough how impressed I've been with the team that's been assembled that is now representing Solterra, the dedication from the different board members or from the employees that are working, that are fighting to help us get more 5-star reviews. You know, we were, I don't know, at 3.8 on Google, you know, 6-9 months ago. We're now 4.3. Viatel's a 4.7. Evermore Resort was a 4.7. And I was like, there we go. We just got 4.4 more to go. If we can get more of those 5-star reviews coming through, happier guests, better experiences, more fun, more amenities, better things happening. I think we've got a real run at doing something amazing at Solterra that would put us on the map and help us stand out. So anyway, I just want to thank the homeowners for coming along with us on this journey. You know, it's taken us a while to make some big fundamental seismic shifts, but we've made those changes and we are moving forward. Yeah, Karen, go.
I just want to give credit where credit's due. You know, yes, the board members and the steering of all of this, it's been amazing, completely different dynamic between all of us and between the whole everything, right? But also the paradigm shift has come, I believe, from our amenities management, from Artemis and Joe, Deanna, the entire amenities staff. It is, and having a can-do attitude, and let's figure this out, let's make this happen, and they're making it happen as well. Rosetta, Brian Meert, I'm not Brian Meert, sorry, you too, but Brian Mendez, all of everybody. This has just been an amazing group effort, and I'm just over the moon. I've been on the CDD since it turned over from the developer, and I'm a very positive person, but I would have never imagined we would have gotten here. Yeah. And it was just so messed up, and now it's so wonderful. I'm just so thrilled.
Devin's on the call. Chris Danks is on the call. Both of them were fantastic as I tried to work with them, and they were the ones that introduced us to Artemis and said, is there a possibility that we can make this work for both HOA and CDD and aligning everything? And so I think there's a lot of people in Solterra that care about making Solterra a wonderful place to come stay. And it's been exciting to see all of those line up. And I think there is a bright future for Solterra with the people that we have involved with these projects, who are all aligned. We're all moving in the same direction. We're all having a great time, and things are starting to go our way. And it's exciting to see, I think, what will happen in the future. So I just want to leave you with that positive note. Look at that. Good things are coming. We went 1 minute over. Thank you guys so much for joining. Have a wonderful night. And any questions, please email your board members or listen in on those very exciting CDD's meetings where you can.
Yeah, thank you all.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.